Hi everyone, thank you for turning up. Before I get started, can I just check that you can hear me okay? Can you write in the chat box below that you can hear me okay? Cool, let's get started. So this webinar is a brief overview of the difference between an online course and a live online course. So my name's Craggs, I'm the AAT Distance Learning Director at First Intuition. I don't do anything else other than AAT, and I don't do anything else other than distance learning. So I sort of look after our online and live online students. So I've been teaching AAT for 8-9 years now, specifically always within a sort of distance learning environment. So my contact details are there if you've got any sort of questions that come up afterwards. But I just wanted to talk about the difference between a live online and an online course. So initially start with what is the same. So every student, whether they're studying in a classroom, online, live online, or even self-study, will get the same materials. So it makes it really flexible. You can go from online to live online to classroom to self-study, and there's no issues with you've got one set of notes and another's got another. So in every set of notes, you're going to get a set of course notes. So they take you through the actual subject. So obviously you'd start with chapter 1 and you'd take you through the subjects in chapter 1, and then the student would move on to the question bank. Now the question bank are not exam standard questions, if I'm being honest. They are just to check that you're picking up the main points. So we try to build things up incrementally. So that's just a check. You pick up the main points, and if you are getting most of them right, you can move through the chapters. So once you've gone through the course notes and question bank, we move on to the task bank. Now these are exam standard questions, and they're the same style, same format. I mean, even in the same order as the real questions you're going to get in the real exam. So you know what's coming up when and where. And one thing I should say, it kind of sets the First Intuition material out from sort of any other AAT publisher, is we've spent a lot of time writing detailed explanations with detailed workings and narrative of how every question is calculated. So you can see, rather than just seeing that the answer's £1,500, you can see how the £1,500 is arrived at. It took a lot of time and effort on our part, but it's really paying dividends now, because we don't get phone call after phone call, students going, why is the answer £1,500? Because they can just see. So once you've got up to exam speed with the task bank, the next section is the mock section. So we give 3 mock exams generally in all our online and live online courses. You get a guided mock, which is just tries to make that first mock exam not quite so daunting. You get a timed mock, which, especially at the later levels, the exams are quite time pressured, so that one should be done to time, and then you'll get a tutor mark mock. Now, tutor mark mocks are really, really important, especially in, for example, synoptic or the level 4 units, or professional level, I should say, because you've got written questions, and they're very, very difficult for students to mark themselves, because you get kind of like 2 students, one that will write a load of rubbish and think it's really good, another one will write something very, very good, but because it's not word for word the same as the model answers, they don't think they're going to get any marks. So that works really well as having a tutor mark mock before you sit any exam. And then with the online and live online course, you'll still get marked assignments as you progress through the course. So they're just our check that you are picking up everything we'd expect you to pick up. And then both with our online and live online courses, you'll get tutor support on an evening weekend. So that's your own tutoring call on an evening up to 8 o'clock or Saturday morning if you've got any questions or queries when you're studying. Now, even with an online course, we've got the live sections, you'll still have your own tutor outside of the live sessions who you can call. And they get to know you, you get to know them. We look after the students for, well, not just the entire level, but their whole potentially level 2, 3 and 4. So we know which students we can push, which students need a little bit more hand-holding. And it works really well. And then every student will get access to our pre-recorded lectures. So these are our course notes that you can see a tutor going through, explaining, not so much reading the notes out because you can read, but more explaining what we're trying to achieve and why, bringing in sort of real-world examples, probably not very funny, but at least relevant stories of when they were practicing accounting, and just sort of bring it all to life. So everyone, online, on live, online, get access to all of that. So that's what's the same. So moving on to an online course. What's the advantage of an online course? It's flexible. Now, with an online course, all the lectures are pre-recorded, so you can go as fast or as slow as you want. But I've had someone who did levels 2, 3 and 4 AAT in 5.5 months. Now, that's not the norm by any means. I mean, he was a retired banker, he was clearly clever, and he clearly had a lot of time in his hands. But that is what's possible. But then I've got other students that have an awful lot going on in their lives. Level 4, 18 months later, they're still just about getting there. And that's fine. All my certificates I have on my wall doesn't say how long it takes you to get there, just that you got there. So it's really good, especially if you've got to fit it around kids, you've got to fit it around work commitments. If you've got any sort of health issues, if you go on holiday, you don't miss anything, it's still there. So it's really, really flexible. And some people like that. You've got no travel costs. You literally can do everything from home. The only thing you need to leave the house for is to sit the exams. Nothing else. Everything can be done from home. And compared to a classroom course, which can be the best part of £2,500, it's very, very cost effective. Now, likewise, with online, you still get your own tutor. So if you're watching a pre-recorded lecture or you're doing a question, there's something you don't quite grasp, we encourage students, don't mess around, pick up the phone, go straight through to your tutor. And clearly our tutors don't work 6 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. If your tutor is off, there's always another tutor there who's more than happy to help out. And the great thing that I think about our online courses are online lectures, which recently, this year, won the AAT award for best use of e-learning. So this is our platform, MyFI. So what I'm going to do is give you a brief sort of overview of how this works.
So this is our online platform on MyFI, as we call it. So this is a unit, management, accounting, costing, taken from the advanced level. So you'll get one tutor who will take you through the entire unit. So you'll get an introduction from the tutor. It will tell you a little bit about how the course works and what we will cover in this one unit.
Hello, I'm Gareth John, and welcome to our AAT Level 3 Management Accounting Costing Online Learning. These online resources should be used alongside your folder of course notes. The purpose of this unit is to enable you to know and understand the role of costing in an organisation and how organisations use cost and revenue information to aid management decision making.
So coming back to the main page, you'll get a study planner which will help you plan your studies and set goals. You will also get another introductory video to show you how to use your course material, although that will also be covered with your induction with your tutor. And when you enrol, you'll instantly get access to the course notes online. So here you can see we've got the first bit is accounting information, and there's this little online symbol here. So if we go back to the main page, you can see there's a corresponding lecture. So when you're studying, you would have the hard copy notes in front of you, in front of your laptop or iPad as it is nowadays, and you'd be able to see the online lecture, and that would take you through the actual course notes you have right in front of you.
Hi there, I'm Gareth, and welcome to this first online lecture.
So if we skip ahead a bit in the video, you can see how Gareth will be going through the course notes and expanding on them and showing you the wider picture of what we're trying to achieve and the reasons why.
In fact, you can perhaps imagine that by comparing the sales that the business has made to the costs that the business has incurred, we can actually start identifying whether the business is making money or not. Has it made a profit?
So coming back to the main page, you can just see how many lectures we have for each individual unit. So all these lectures relate to just the management accounting costing unit. So we have this is typical of what we'd have for most units. Some units have more, so financial statements at level 4, the elements of costing one at level 2, maybe not quite so many. Anyway, so they're the lectures. So as you move through the chapters, there are assignments that are online, that are another test of your learning to make sure you have really understood everything. So these are done online, and these are automatically marked. And the great thing is we take into account if you make any errors and use that error correctly going forward, it will give you the marks just like it would in the real AAT exam. So as you can see, these are testing questions, not just true or false. There's proper calculations in here, and we find they're a really good test to make sure you really do follow exactly what the AAT exams will be testing you on.
So that's our online course. So moving on, what's the benefit of a live online course? So with a live online course, the great thing about a live online course is you get structure and discipline. And with the introduction of AQ 2016, this works really, really well, because with AQ 2016, every level has a synoptic exam, and these synoptic exams are only available at a certain time of the year, typically to sort of every 6 or 8 weeks. And so with a structured course, you know when you're going to be sitting that synoptic exam, and you've got a date to work towards. And it gives you that sort of start and finish date, which is really, really good if you were thinking of, I need to be starting ACCCA, for example, in September or something like that. So it gives you defined start dates, defined finish dates. And the way it kind of works is you'll have 1 month on, 1 month off. So 1 month with the live sessions, 1 month doing your revision, sending your mocks to your tutor when you'll sit the exam, and then you'll start the next unit. So I'm going to show you a video in a minute of how it kind of works. But the great thing is you're sat there literally watching, taking part in a classroom. You can ask questions then and there, and you'll get access to award-winning tutors no matter where you are in the country, and they can answer your queries in real time. And when you're sort of a live student in a classroom, we do really try and bring you into the classroom. So for example, if someone at the front of the class asks a very good question, the tutor will say, "That's a great question, Tommy. For those of you at home, Tommy's just asked this," and then they will answer the question and sort of bring you in just like you would be in the real classroom. And you get to interact with other people online. You've got the chat box there, so you get to know the people on your course. And you've got choice of weekend or evening sessions. You can do them in block release, or you can do them on a night. Obviously, during the day, they're a lot longer, but there aren't as many. If you do them on evening, they're shorter, but there are more. And you can pick and choose between. You don't have to set set it that I'm always going to be an evening student or a daytime student. But the great thing is really that structure, that it's going to start now and it's going to finish then. So I'm going to show you an example of just a live online course in action.
Okay, so sales ledger control account, trade receivables. Unless this is the first period that the business has started trading. Excellent. Hi Scott. Hi Nick. Trade debtors. Anybody come across the term trade debtors? Do we still refer to these as trade debtors? Sometimes. I think old-fashioned English terminology for this was trade debtors. We've replaced it. Once we've converted over to international accounting standards, we've kind of gone along with this international language. And so if you hear people at work talk about trade debtors, that's still this. Yeah, trade receivables. Good question, Nick. Thank you.
Now, clearly, they'd be a lot longer than that. They normally start about 6:30 and go until 8:45 on an evening, or during the day it's 9:30 till 4. But that gives you a sort of taste of what you'll see. You'll see the course that's in the middle, you see the tutor, very much like I am now, in your top right hand corner, and then the chat box below. And you can interact in real time. Now, it depends on the kind of student. If you need flexibility and you need to be able to pause your studies, or you need to quickly catch up because you've had some time off, an online course is really good for that. If you like the defined, almost the I must go to college or I will not be able to motivate myself to study structure, a live online course would be good for you. And like I say, it's the same material, it's the same recording, so you can go from one to another. It's very, very, very flexible. So has anyone got any questions about, well, online, live online, or AAT in general while I'm here? I do appreciate you sort of watching. This meeting webinar has been recorded. If you do want a copy of it, just let me know. You can get me at aat@fi.co.uk. It's also exciting bit when you see someone's typing. Very, very good question. You get access from your home to a award-winning tutor who can be nowhere near to yourself, but you will have to leave home to sit your exams. There are AAT exam venues all over the country. You do not have to sit at a first tuition centre. Generally, unless you live really sort of in the southwest or on the Scottish borders, you've got a choice of exam centres nowadays, and you shop around. Some people like to pay a bit more because they have a nice offices, they're open weekends and evenings. Some people just like a cheap exam centre, go and sit the exam. 6-7 years ago, there was situations where some people struggled to get an exam centre within an hour. I cannot remember the last time a student struggled to find an exam centre that was suitable for them. Nowadays, I'd say nearly every student has a choice. And it does pay to shop around because they do vary in price. But typically they're around about £65 per exam, and that's payable when you sit the exam. So you've got 5 at level 2, foundation level, 5 exams at the advanced level, and 6 at the professional level. But no, you would have to go to an exam centre to sit the exams. Everything else can be done from home. Any other questions? Great. Well, like I say, if you do have any other questions or queries, you can come back to me at aat@fi.co.uk. If you were sort of thinking of starting studies now, January is a great time to start your studies because it's a good time to start an online course because they start any day of the week, to be honest. But it's also a good time for starting live online because there's a nice break in January where, for example, you start level 2 and you go straight into the double entry bookkeeping units, or at professional level, you'd start your optional units now, and then you'd start the mandatory units with a view of sitting the synoptic in January 2019. Sounds a long way away, but that's when you do it. So it works really well with the professional level because you've got that mandatory unit synoptic sort of order you have to go for, and you've got the option of to do the optional units before or optional units after. January would be a good time for a live online course. Anytime's a good time for an online course because literally you start any day of the week. You get instant access to the online lectures and online material. So there is no worries about that. Cool. Right, I appreciate you coming, but if anyone's got any other questions or queries or anything like that, you know where I am.